Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. Actually, I was out at the mall today, and somebody told me with this shirt I look like a big salmon. I wish people wouldn't volunteer information like that. As my dogs are ripping a UPS person in the background, welcome to Moohead Radio. A few things that I want to talk about today, nothing that's really overtly critical. However, I can say with certainty that the quarterbacks that we were going to see through at the Combine, we'll talk a little bit about that. The Cleveland Cavaliers play tonight. We'll talk just a little bit about that. The Cleveland Indians, we'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll also talk about the NBA divulging that they are moving in a direction to do what I have been screaming about for so many years, which is to approach high school players to get involved in the NBA and directly into the G League rather than going to colleges where they don't belong. Well, I'll be talking about that in just a minute. Let's start with the quarterback, shall we? In the last program, in the last episode of Moohead Radio, we talked about Mr. Moohead's feelings about the different quarterbacks. Well, we got to see them all throw. I hope you got to see it too. Well, all of them that matter. Because in a true hand-wringing, I feel sorry for myself. I've let my team and my teammates down in my school, and be true to your school just like you are to your girl. Darnold didn't throw. And somehow that doesn't surprise me, but I am a little worried, and I'll tell you why. There's only two possible reasons why Darnold would not throw at the Combine. One is bad advice from an agent that he was dumb enough to follow, or some stupid team has already assured him that they were going to pick him number one. Wait a minute. Hold on. I see. When he shows up, it can't be good news, folks. It can't be good news. It means that the black cow of death has already put his hoof prints on Darnold, and he is fearful that the Browns have already contacted the agent and have already committed to choosing him number one. Wouldn't that be a horrible thing? I think so. Now, the other quarterbacks that I wanted to talk about, everybody says, well, it was Josh Allen stole the show. It's like, what fucking show? You're throwing to guys in T-shirts and shorts. It's like, There's no pass rush. Beauty contest. You know what it's like? It would be like a beauty contest in which they really did put some kind of accent on intelligence quotient. Wouldn't that be interesting? Not that we would have all the pageant participants being unattractive, but only the smart ones would have a chance to win. But you see, this is a beauty contest the way it currently is being run, which if you don't realize how it's being run, all the good-looking girls go backstage at the Trump resort and change clothes so that Donald Trump could stare at them while they're naked. That's how that plays out. And of course, no smart woman is going to do something like that. But it's that horrible feeling that you get when Miss Junior South Carolina steps up to the mic and, has a total brain cramp, Can you find your home state on a map? I'm not really positive, but I just want to say that everybody in my home state, wherever it's located, wishes for world peace. That's the horrible feeling you get. The difference between Deshaun Kaiser throwing at the Combine and throwing with real live people coming at him. One is like in shorts, and he looks like he's the J.C. Penney male model. You get it. The other one is, ah! Okay. You get it. Anybody can look good in shorts and a shirt. Throwing to some guy who's in shorts and a shirt. I mean, my brother and I used to do that on the beach when we'd visit Florida when we were kids. It was like the beach was the place to lay out and play football, man. That was awesome. You're down and out, was down the beach and into the water, dive and catch the ball and hit a wave. And if you were lucky, the wave hit you at the same time and you held on. It's like, that's a Sports Center moment. Unfortunately, more often than not, it's Smith's South Carolina Jr. It's got a South in it. South Carolina. Is it close to South Dakota? That's what happens to most quarterbacks who wilt once the pass rush is on them, especially if they're 72, 64. Holy fuck, Spencer Drango said hut. Anybody can look good. So what did we learn? That Darnold is a coward. I already told you that. Oh, I've let everybody down. So how did Josh Allen really raise his stock? Because he didn't hit the flagpole, and he was trying to, but he didn't. So his stock goes up. And then you have Mike Mayock. He's like, I think this kid can walk on water. Honestly. Now, if he were in the water, he couldn't hit the water with a football, but I think he can walk on water. Somebody listen to me and not Mel Kiper. I'm the other guy. I'm Mike Mayock. And I think Josh Allen. He's Bruce Brennan. Ah, God, I love Josh. He did nothing to raise his stock. If you saw him throw the out pattern 4 feet over a guy's head, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Please. Fake news. No, I'm not. No. But you understand what I'm saying. I watched the workout. You watched the workout. And it's like, well, he looked better than I thought he'd look. Well, that's probably because he stayed on his feet. I have no idea. Did any of them really look better than anyone else? No, and it doesn't matter because they don't have to process anything. There's one guy going out for a pass, and he drops back, and he looks this way, and he looks back, and he throws it to the one guy. That is not the way we play football. However, I do want to make a comparison because I think it's only fair for those people who are getting the Mike Mayock, God, I'm having a hard-on for Josh Allen kind of thing going on. There's Josh Allen, he of the biggest arm, and then there's Tanner Lee. Ooh la wee, look at Tanner Lee. Now, Tanner Lee is the walking vestigial. He is the absolute approximation of Derek Anderson. Tanner Lee. I can throw the ball through a brick wall. I have no idea where it's going. Now, Tanner Lee, what a cool name. Hey, Tanner, let's go out and just chew some tobacco. Okay? Oh, where? Behind the barn. Tanner Lee, who went to Nebraska. You know, I can come up with a Mike Mayock story about Tanner Lee. All right? Let's have some fun with this, shall we? This is how we spin on Moohead Radio to make fun of these alleged intelligent talking heads. You know something? Tanner Lee may not be the first guy that jumps into your mind, but look at how the ball comes out of his hand. I mean, this is major league stuff. This is the stuff of which NFL quarterbacks are made. The ease with which he releases the ball and the ball comes out. The explosiveness out of his hands. He's got the requisite height. He's got the requisite weight, and he's not a bad athlete. He's number 2 in the combine in the broad jump. And number 2 in the vertical jump. This kid's got some athletic stuff. And to make things better about Tanner Lee is that You can take a look at his college records, and they really mean nothing. The reason is he spent 2 years at Tulane. Tulane, where he didn't do particularly well, but he improved from his first to second year and then transferred to Nebraska thinking that things would get better, but they didn't get better. Not that they didn't get better for Tanner Lee. They didn't get better for the Cornhuskers program as they've replaced their coach. They're bringing Scott Frost back to Lincoln. And you know that coming from where he came from in Florida, that Scott Frost is going to run a more athletic quarterback out on the field in Nebraska. And that would be like a running quarterback, not a big-armed guy like Tanner Lee. And you could look at his college stats and say, oh, Tanner Lee, he threw so many interceptions. But you know something? Here's the bottom line with Tanner Lee. He threw 23 touchdowns and he threw 16 interceptions, and that's far too many. But did you see this Nebraska team play during the course of the year? I happened to watch all 16 Nebraska football games because I like corn, especially on the cob. And here's the deal with that. Not only did they have no offensive line whatsoever, if you're comparing Sam Darnold and Tanner Lee, and then you're comparing Josh Rosen and UCLA and USC, those programs, you can't compare those programs to Nebraska. Nebraska's nowhere near it in the level of talent and athleticism in the front line in front of Tanner Lee. Tanner Lee had to earn everything he got. So right off the bat, he wasn't getting any help from his offense, not any help from his wide receivers. And the reason that Nebraska replaced its head coach is they've done such a lousy job in recruiting good athletes. In fact, that's probably why Tanner Lee was able to move up from Tulane to a bigger program at Nebraska. They were trying to move in a certain vertical passing downfield way, but they didn't yet have the athletes to get it done. So yeah, some of those interceptions are on Tanner Lee, but most of them aren't. And the fact of the matter is he still completed about 55% of his passes, which is the same basic percentage as Josh Allen has. So what's the big deal here? Why is there this much difference between these two quarterbacks? One guy played at Wyoming, and he played far fewer games this year, approximately 30% fewer games this year, and attempted 100 fewer passes this past year than he did the previous year. And you want to know how many touchdowns and how many interceptions he threw in his comparable best year? He threw, well, let's look it up so I can be precise, because I try to commit things to memory, but when I'm spinning, I want to make sure that I'm telling you correctly. All right, we'll go over to, all right, here we go. In his seminal year, we're looking at 28 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. How is that really different than 23 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, I ask you? And last year, 16 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. But the bottom line is he only threw for half the yardage, basically, that he did the year before. And he threw literally 33% fewer passes than he did the previous year. So if we really figured this out, he would have probably been in double digits in interceptions anyway. So why does everybody love Josh Allen and nobody really gives a damn about Tanner Lee? I hope I've spun your heads into oblivion. All right. That's what the combine means to me. Let's go into the chat room and see what people are saying. Stephen Rose is saying, for some reason, it just won't let me on. He restarted his computer. And Bronk is saying it won't let me in either. And I blame the Black Cow of Death. It keeps saying there's an error. Geez, I mean, I can't believe this. I have a link up here. And we're not getting anywhere with this, are we? You know what I should do? I can't become a second instance in this either. I don't have the ability to do that. That's really too bad. It's destroying my ability to have co-hosts is what it's doing. And it's not at all under my control. Because if it was under my control, I wouldn't let Tony the Calf on the air. Yeah, I am absolutely shocked about it. Yeah, I just went ahead and threw another link in just for the halibut. But I mean, I don't know. That is the link that it's giving me. At any rate, Stephen Rose is saying Saquon Barkley is the best player in the draft. Yeah, he's my number one. Yep. And as far as the quarterbacks are concerned, I'm still not backing off my statement. I don't think that Josh Rosen looked any better or any worse than anybody else did, but the fact is you can't tell anything at this point anyway. Bronk is saying, Moohead played touch football with John F. Kennedy. That's right. That is my level of expertise in these matters. But I guess what I'm pointing out is anyone can spin anything. And what Mayock is really doing here is really kind of misleading, and all this press is like, let's elevate, Allen now, and then we'll elevate somebody else. And we try to keep things guessing. I just hope to God we haven't contacted Darnold's people saying that we're going to draft him number one. I would be just to be horrible. All right. Stephen Rose is saying the Cavs play the Pistons tonight. No, the Cavs lose to the Pistons tonight. The Cavaliers are without Jeff Green. They are without Tristan Thompson, who now suddenly has incurred some ankle injury that we saw him stub his big toe during the course of the game. And now he's out. And yes, that's right. We're going to have to try to attack or defend against Drummond and Blake Griffin with Larry Nance Jr., and Larry Nance Jr., and 3 minutes of Ante Zizic. Rack up another loss for the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, and it won't be close. They're not going to be able to rebound at all. Just terrible. Steven says, if the Cavs lose, we need new lakes for LeBron to jump into. No, the only reason LeBron would jump into a lake is if he could swim. My feeling is he would have to go someplace close. And he's not going to go to Chicago because nobody's going to Chicago. And Toronto, I can't see LeBron as a Canadian. So, no, he's not going to jump into the lake. Bronk is saying disappointed that Drango Unblocked didn't win an Oscar last night. Yeah, Kobe Bryant did. And the thing is that winning, he wouldn't even give the people who helped him make the movie any credit. Nothing new there. Kevin Costner should have won an Oscar for Draft Day. I'm still trying to get through Waterworld, dude. Johnny Manziel is making a comeback. Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The only difference between Johnny Manziel and Canelo Alvarez is that one admitted that they failed a drug test. Tanner Lee would be a good name. Actually, Tanner Lee, not so much a porn name, Bronk. Tanner Lee would be kind of like a TV series, Da-da-da, Tanner Lee, P.I. Da-da-da, a Quinn Martin production. Yeah, right. Daktar saying he may have wanted to draw the scouts to his school to notice other players from his school. Yeah. Boy, acid must be so easy to get in the D.C. area. My goodness. We need a new link, Moohead, so we can get on. I know. Hey, Tony the Calf. Try the link that I put in the chat room and see if it works. I can't test it because I'm already on the air and I can't run 2 instances of that without messing my show up. Somebody else try that link and see if it's saying there's an error and specifically what error it's giving you so I can at least tell the people at YouTube what this is doing. Shaquem Griffin runs fast. He runs a 4.38 40. Whether he's going to be a superstar, let's not get carried away, Tony. Reports of J.R. Smith getting high, better the game and spilling hot soup on his nuts. Here's the deal. J.R. Smith, Did you see the video on Instagram? LeBron James, J.R. Smith, and Jeff Green roller skating on a bonding day. That's what the Cavaliers need. They don't need practice. They need a bonding day. You know, here's one. Here's his friend. You know, what in the hell can I tell you? A guy, Jeff Green, who's going to be out for 5 basketball games with a bad lower back, is on roller skates. Oh, I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new. And the Cavaliers organization saying, yeah, we know it's not the best look, but, you know, we really felt this bonding day. The Cavaliers playing roller derby. Damon Jones on roller skates and J.R. Smith on roller skates can do less harm to one another. Unbelievable. Tony the Calf. You're not back to the Vikings winning the Lombardi Trophy, are you, Tony? You know what this is? I'll do it again for you, Tony. That's your bus that you missed going by. And it's not coming back again very soon. Bronx says Nebraska's got awful. I think Minnesota even beat them this year. Yeah. Yeah, I put the link in. I put the link in. But, you know, somebody's got to try the link besides the guys who are getting the error. If anybody else besides Bronx and Steven want to try the link I put in, if you're getting an error, please write to me what error you're getting. I'm going through all these comments because you guys take the time to write these things, so I think it's important that I respond. The Golden Gophers beat Nebraska 54-21. Yeah. Josh Dolan saying, shout out to my boys at Cleveland State as the men's basketball team takes on Oakland in the Horizon League tourney. Woohoo. Let me know what the other 6 people who watched the game say about it, Josh. General Dog saying, Billy going to play in the CFL? It depends if it's part of the drug route. TJ Hooker starring Tanner Lee. No, TJ Hooker would be the Tanner Lee name. You got it reversed. Tony saying it didn't work. A box popped up that said, error. We encountered a problem joining this video call. Wow. And it didn't say anything like fat fuck on it, Tony. I'm kidding. That's the error I get too. Don't worry about it. That is really strange. I wonder, you know, and again, I don't control any of this. This is just the same Hangouts that I've been utilizing, and it assigns a link. And for whatever reason, it's not working. Ron Shane says, we need a quarterback with big hands. Well, we know it wouldn't be Donald Trump. Little feet, little hands. Stephen Rose, my dad says Kevin Love needs to come back before March 21st so that he can play 15 games. So by playoffs, you know exactly what lineup you need to be in. Yeah, you know, the thing is, Kevin Love is in a smaller brace today, but there's still no backing off the total 8-week prognostication for his absence. And the way things have been going for Cleveland this year, not good. You know, what's really at a game like tonight, it's where you miss a guy like Channing Frye, isn't it? Really. That's what it amounts to. Because even if he's a big who doesn't necessarily play like a big, but he could force a guy like Drummond out to the perimeter because he can shoot 3-point shots. We don't have anybody who can do that. We're going to be coagulated in the paint. It's going to be a disaster tonight. Just an abject disaster. Kirk Cousins, baby. How is it that when a guy thinks his team is going to get Kirk Cousins, suddenly Kirk Cousins becomes good? Kirk Cousins is awful. Kirk Cousins has been one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks in the NFL. General Dog says, I tried. Same thing. Wow. It's true. Cleveland State did do better when Kevin Mackey was dealing drugs. That's true. Let's see. Tony is saying, yes, it said this call can't be completed due to weight capacity violation. There you have it. I'm hogging all of the weight bandwidth. That will explain it, Tony. Thank you. If Huey Jackson was the Cavs head coach in an 82-game season, how many wins would the Cavs have? Boy, there's a theoretical question for you for a deep thinker, and I'm not really a deep thinker, but Huey wouldn't win any games with the Cavaliers. The wins would be assigned to LeBron James, and he would still be 1-31. And now Isaiah Thomas is going off in LA. Going off where? I don't know. I'm not so sure. He had a big game. Yes, he did. I think he was 20 or what was it? 30 minutes, 29 points, 11 of 20 from the floor. That sounds about right. My bovine mind is still functioning. Let's take a look at the last Lakers game, shall we? When was the last time the Lakers played? It wasn't that game. I think they had another game afterwards. I think. Well, it wasn't then. How about Saturday? Saturday. Cavaliers are going to get a good look at the Lakers. Yes, they're the Lakers. They beat the Spurs. How about that? Lakers are coming on strong. And let's see what Isaiah did. He was 6 for 16. What the fuck are you talking about going off? 29 minutes, 6 for 16 from the floor. That sucks, Tony. He had one decent game, and he turned the ball over 5 times in 29 minutes. So very sorry. DA Kid in the chat room saying, you know, being old school, I suspect I know what's wrong with the NBA Cavs, but I would not be PC and label it racism. So the kid is going to say that black people are... There would be no NBA without black people. Boy. Jimmy Haslam screwed up my hangout. He could screw anything up except D, who screws up your eyes looking at her. Tom Joey 9 says, Huey Jackson would win 3 games out of 82 based on his win percentage. See, there's a guy who got his calculator out and did his figuring. I bet Tom Joey 9 is an accountant. Tom Joey 9, have you gotten laid lately? Who figures that shit out? But we could use you as a researcher here on Moohead Radio. Try a new Hangouts conversation, Moo. I just tried restarting the old call from the other day. I can't do that because then I would shut down my archive. That way the archive wouldn't work. That's the problem. Cavs will play good the first quarter, Ron Shane says, and then suck thereafter. DC Gaming says the Lakers have won 5 in a row, but yeah, it's not because of Isaiah Thomas. Okay? Isaiah Thomas is still shooting 38% from the floor at his time in LA. No more. It's actually worse than what he was shooting in Cleveland. Daktar is just saying, Brett Favre, and I have no reason, but maybe there's just is no reason. Mackey is a great man, a great coach, Josh Dolan said, and he had one hell of a Coke stash. And we've all been pulled over with an open container and trace amounts of cocaine, right, guys? Yeah, that's right. It's a very common occurrence. Josh Gordon, excuse me. Me and Steven just had a chat together on Hangouts. Well, I hope it wasn't too intimate, and don't fill me in on the visual details. I have no control over this because it automatically assigns me this. I'm going to go in here. I wish I could make another Hangout. I wonder if send me an email address, Stephen Rose. Send me an email address, and I am going to invite you. Let me entertain you. Let me make... this could work. I'm willing to try this if you're willing to try it. You'll meet me halfway, which is better than no way. And I say that really only to honor dead Partridge Family members. All right. So if you send me, Bronk, you can send me your email address, and Steven, send me your email address. I will invite each of you and see if you get a private invite if that refigures this thing. It's not a bad idea. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I'll be waiting for that from you guys. Now, there's this matter of the NBA. I've been screaming for years. Now, let's talk about the Indians first, because you know something? The white man screwed the Indians so many years ago by forcing them on a reservation. We'll talk about the Cleveland Indians. I guess there is a big problem distinguishing the two, especially because of people who take logos as being... All right, let's see if I can do this. Let's make a copy of this. All right. I'm going to invite Stephen Rose here and see what happens. All right. Here comes an invite. Bong. All right. That invitation has been posted. What that means, I don't know. I've never done this way before. So, but then that's what all the women in Hollywood. I've never done it that way before. The Cleveland Indians. You know, I'm supposed to get excited about Jason Kipnis. Now, you know something? I say that if all of the Cleveland Indians started out hitting in warm Arizona light air where the ball carried, we'd all start out the season great, but they come to Cleveland when it's freezing cold. And Jason Kipnis never hits to the first month of a season any more than Jim Thome did. There are some guys who cannot get off to good starts in cold weather. The Cleveland Indians are a team that generally, in an offensive sense, don't get off to good starts. So I really don't get overly excited about that kind of thing. All right, so I'm not seeing... I sent my invitation to Stephen Rose. I don't know. I'm not hearing back. So I'm assuming that didn't work either. And he says he sent something to my comment section. I am not getting anything on my comment section. All right. Yeah, okay. I see. There it is. But I invited you. So let me know what happens if you got an invitation or not. I don't know what to tell you. Was there did Bronk give me his email address? No, that would be asking for too damn much. So Steven's always driving his car, for goodness sakes. All right. The Indians, I'm not getting so yeah, I invited you, Stephen. So if you didn't get the invite, I don't know, you know, it said it would be posted. You can't seem to send your email address. My computer, there's nothing wrong with my computer. How is it possible? If there's something wrong with my computer, how is it possible that you're seeing me say moo in the chat room? God damn. Thick as a brick. Yeah. Kipnis is not going to get off to a fast start. You know, I'm glad to see that we had a good outing from Clevenger, and I want him to be the starting pitcher because he's the one who actually has stuff. And, it won't let us send it in the chat room. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Now, check out your email, Stephen. I invited you to the show from inside the Hangout. That's how I sent it to you. It said an invite has been posted, but I'm not exactly sure. So if it's not, Oh, so now Stephen says, I sent you a misspelled email. How about spell check, buddy? Well, then what's the real one? Uh-huh. Boy, I'll tell you. Please make it stop, dear Lord. Make it stop. Global has an L. All right. Let's see now if I can get this. Well, this is not going to let me do that. Hold on a sec. Doggone it. Yeah, unfortunately, this is not gonna let me do this either because I can't copy this from a notification. So you're gonna have to send me this somehow, and if you can't send it to me, then we just can't do it because I can't copy that. I can go letter by letter. Let's see. Let's do it. What the hell? It's better than having to listen about the people saying, I think Bradley is going to become a great player now that Knapp is working with him. Yeah, Knapp's playing cards with him. Let's get real, shall we? Ay. All right. Let's see what I have to do here. I have to go back to this. Boy, this is just all right. Almost as funny as Friday's show. Friday's show was, I'm trying to be more lighthearted in my assessments of things here. I sent the correct one to your comment section, but the problem is my comment section, I'm going to have to open up a completely different. I'm wondering if I can do it this way. If I go this way and go this way and go this way, go this way, and go that way. And okay, here we go. Let's see if this works. Mamma mia. Here I go again. My. See, whenever I get frustrated, I start singing ABBA songs. I know it's unfortunate, but it's not my fault. All right. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to do this because I messed up. Okay. It's hard to walk and chew gum at the same time. All right, I'm going to send an invite now and see what happens. Here's the correct invite. Invitation posted, it says, and that's all it says. So I've done my part. I'm done. Napoli's not going to play for the Cleveland Indians, but he's hopefully going to play somewhere. He should get a map of Taiwan out. These guys hang on. He hit 193 last year, man. 193. Meanwhile, Yandy Diaz is hitting 400 in spring training, which wouldn't bother me so much because everyone can hit in good year, or else they'd call it bad year. If they called it bad year, then I would be. But Yandy Diaz is not going to get to play in Cleveland because Tito. All right. It's just that simple. Let's talk about this whole NBA thing because I think it is important to talk about. For years, I am not a dancing queen. Stop it, Tony. I think Stephen Rose is dyslexic. I can't make out what it. I CNA add you. I can add you. Maybe he's just being dyslexic. All right. So now the NBA is saying, we see the problem inherent in NCAA, and now we're coming to the rescue. And it's like, where have you been? Where in the hell have you been? And so now they want to make amendment to the one and done rule. And now they're talking about, well, we want to talk to the top 18-year-olds about, top high school guys about maybe being able to walk right into the NBA, and, we'll pay these guys. But what they're really doing is exactly what I recommended 5 fucking years ago. And that's pretty simple. Go to the G League. Come out of high school, go to the G League, get paid, learn the skill set, and come into the league. I just don't understand where this has been all this time, except that they had a deal with the NCAA. Now, my question is will the FBI turn out some kind of a payment somehow that the NCAA is paid to the NBA for doing this? Because the way I see this is a lose for the NBA all these years. How has it helped the NBA, with the exception that kids would make a bigger name for themselves being on television during televised college basketball games? How does it help the NBA? Because even if they get publicized, they come to the NBA and play a completely different game than they do in college. So they have to be retrained all over again. Some of them have the requisite talent to make a quick transition. Other people, a slow transition. And other guys, no transition at all. But all these years, the NBA has been willing to sit there and watch the NCAA make free money off of these kids when they could have been making that money themselves, and the kids themselves could have been making money. I don't understand it. Plus, the other ball kids would have some place to go besides Lithuania. Well, at least the older one. The fact is, none of us really like the G League, Stephen. The fact of the matter is, nobody watches the G League. The concept of the G League is great, but it never fulfilled its promise. And that's the problem. The problem is what it was supposed to be all these years. It's not a developmental league. It's a league for people who desperate wannabes, has-beens, Larry Sanders coming back, guy who already led Beijing in scoring, that kind of thing. And nobody wants to see John Holland play for 6 years in the developmental league. But people would pay to see the kids coming out of high school. And you know what it would do? It would open up ESPN and Dickie V to attend high school basketball games. Wouldn't that be something? Let me tell you something about that kid right over there. He's only 16 years old. He hasn't gotten the blowjob yet, but he can fill it up from 3. Yeah. Fact of the matter is that the way the kids would get their exposure would be through television in high school. And that may not be the best of all worlds, but give them a chance to ply their trade and to make money at an apprentice's fee for plying their trade. This is what we do with everybody else in the workforce. Why not in basketball? And, there is a dream involved with this because many are called and few are chosen. And the fact of the matter is that if you're a great high school player, there is just absolutely no assurance that you're going to be even a passable NBA basketball player. But you take your shot, and at least you get paid while you're trying. And if they decide to cut bait and just go in another direction from you, well, you still don't have a college degree, and Taco Bell is still waiting for you. But again, the only logical path from high school to the NBA is a developmental league, and the NBA already owns it. And it's also great because you can send kids to places like Sioux Falls. You can send kids to places that is going to take the glamour and the glitz out of this when they're very young. They're going to learn to live out of a suitcase. They're going to learn what it is to have a grind of having to practice every day at fast speeds. They're going to learn to play in front of empty buildings instead of big college arenas. And you know something? That's good for them. This notion of, oh my God, I'm getting out of high school. I'm going to put up with 1 year of college. I'm going to get out and I'm going to get a big payday. That's going to be gone. Because only a few select people could be that good. The rest, they're going to have to sit in a Motel 6 in Sioux Falls. All right. And then they're going to come out, and this is what they're going to do. When they come out on the floor, it's going to be, hello? 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 Is anybody in here? Here? All right? Strike at the ego. Fuck LeVar Ball. Fuck those parents. The kids need to learn how to play the game at the superior level. The only way they're going to do it is to take their talents to Sioux Falls. It's about time. I hope about time. I just hope that this works. I hope that it happens. The players do get more exposure playing at Duke than at the Canton Charge. There's no question about that. But you know something? It's only because of television. And you know something? ESPN wants to cut its fucking payroll anyway. They let go half of their workforce anyway. Who cares? ESPN can broadcast the high school games instead of the college games. You got to deal with the NBA? Hey, we'll sell you the G League games inexpensively. If you're Fox or if you're TNT or whoever you are, we'll sell them to you inexpensively. You will get national exposure on national television networks for these kids. Anything but Krzyzewski and his fucking limousine. Anything but that. Stephen Rose says, my dad was a Knicks fan, saying the Eastern Conference is boring to watch other than LeBron. And if Cavs lose first round, then the rest of round would be boring. Well, you know, actually the Cavaliers are probably a little bit more boring in my opinion right now, because the Cavaliers wandering around in the half court is really a scary thing. So what can I tell you? That's just a telemarketer. Ignore the phone call. What can I tell you? I think the whole East is compared to the West. I think there's Houston. I mean, look at Denver. Denver kicked us in the groin and drove our testicles into our abdomen. Did you see how well they moved the ball and how well they shot open threes? Now, I'm not saying that Denver plays like that every night, but they're 35-28, which is damn near as good as we are, and they're playing in a tougher conference. There are a lot of young teams with, you got Will Barton. You got guys on that team who are serious young players. They're better than we are. It's that simple. What's your thoughts on the Rockets' 15-game winning streak? It almost came to an end against Boston. And they tried at the end to give Boston as many last-second hoists as they possibly could. And Kyrie unintentionally made a free throw. I think the Rockets are good. I think the Rockets, we saw them earlier in the year, devastate us. I think they're, a good team. I don't think they're 7 games good like the Warriors are, though. But I think they're good, and I think that's going to be your Western Final. If you're as sexy as Brian Windhurst, you can keep your ESPN job. Now, let's not go off on a man's appearance. It's more about what he says than what he looks like. Okay? So if you like what he says, that's wonderful. If you like what he looks like, then you're a chubby chaser. And don't look at me then. It would make me very uneasy. If LeBron goes to the West next year, do you think it'll force the NBA to do top 16 teams to make the playoffs? LeBron's already said he's against that. But, of course, who knows? If LeBron goes to the West next year, then I think it would be an admission on the part of the NBA that there's no point in strengthening the East at this point. let's get another team out west to compete with the Golden State Warriors. Because if they have two teams that can compete with one another, they seem to be happy. It's the way it always was with the Lakers and the Celtics. If they have two teams, they can be happy about that. Now, Harris is another good young player. They hit some good. They hit a lot of wide open shots too, Stephen. But yeah, they were shooting extremely well. I don't think people fear LeBron like they did when he was 24 years old. But I think that, you know what it's like? It's like the Tiger Woods thing. Nobody fears Tiger anymore. But, you know, if Tiger started winning again, they'd fear him in a heartbeat. That's how I look at that. And I think that it's not LeBron they don't fear. I think they look at LeBron and they say, I'm looking at the four guys who are on the court with you, and you can't beat us. The multitude of players that we have compared to what you have, you can't beat us. And I think that confidence shows that in a moment when the Cavaliers cut a lead to 104 to 103, they come down and drill a three. That's the second time in 2 games that that's happened, where we closed the gap and the other team just buried a 3-point shot right in our face and just stared us down. I think that it's like, you're going to have to beat 5 of us, 1 of you, and I don't think it's going to happen. Bronx saying, what do you think of Clarkson tossing the ball? Yeah. Spunky guy, right? I think Cleveland fans like that kind of shit, but, you know, I would prefer if he shot better from 3. Michael, side note, Ron Arrest came into my restaurant the other night. I think he means Artest, unless he did something that he shouldn't have done. Not as big as I thought he would be, wearing a loose-fitting suit from the 90s, too. Well, you know, things come very quickly, and poverty is one of them. Yeah, I don't think, if he was wearing a suit from the 90s, it's because he was roided up in the 90s, Michael. And now that he's been off the roids, it's loose-fitting. You see how it works? If J.R. Smith throws soup in Huey Jackson's face, will he deserve a raise? These are all theoretical questions, folks. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that it's going to take a guy from another sport to do something to Huey. I think just watching Huey and Todd Haley work this year ought to be really entertaining. I think the Cavaliers will go 1 round into the playoffs and lose in the first round. No, they will not win the East. I got to get going now. And the reason is because the Cavaliers are going to lose. Play. And I got to watch that. That's just the way it works. I'm sorry about the inability of people to get onto the program, and I don't understand why that's happening, but I will look it up online and Google it and see if other people are having the problem. Thanks so much for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. Back again on Friday to see what else there is to talk about. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads, and good luck, Cavaliers. Bye-bye.